social stuff.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I am Tony. This is Marty. Oh, he's on this side. I'm going to get that wrong all night. This is Marty. We are here to talk to you about... Marty, hold your finger up. We're going to talk to you about what other finger? Other hand, other side of your head. There. Yeah, what is Kaleidoscope? So Kaleidoscope is one of our support groups. But before we really get into all of that, and before I introduce you to Marty and I have him tell you who he is, I'm going to start with a question, Marty. If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Only. That's it. No variations. One food.
Pad Thai.
Pad Thai. Boom. That's a solid answer. Wow. All right. Why?
It was one of the best meals I ever had, and how it became my best meal was sort of an interesting story.
Let's hear it. Might as well. Let's talk about it. Why was it?
I was living in Vancouver.
Yeah.
There was this kind of crappy cafe that went out of business.
Yeah.
And then the head chef from a 5-star hotel in Vancouver took it over.
Nice.
And she was Thai.
Yeah.
And Taiwanese from Thailand. And then all she had was like a stove that you would have in your apartment.
Okay.
An old electric
stove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had the best Thai meal ever.
That's perfect.
Best Pad Thai ever.
That's great. That's a great. I really like Pad Thai a lot. I think if I had to pick something, at the moment I would. Last time I think I answered pizza, and I think today I'm gonna answer burritos.
I don't think you can change.
Well, I changed last time. It was pizza, and so like today I'm more in a burrito for the rest of my life kind of mood. And the specific burrito, I don't have one, but burritos. That's what I want right now. I think I'm just saying I'm hungry and I want a burrito right
now. Okay, I'm with you.
All right, so tell us, Marty, who are you, and like, what is your relationship to Kaleidoscope?
I'm a guy who also suffers from mental illness with chronic depression for a long time.
Okay.
My relationship to Kaleidoscope is that I started doing it maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
And then what happened in particular with Kaleidoscope is that there was a lot of regulars.
Yeah.
And so there was this gelling between me and the regulars, and I got used to the group, which is different than other groups, and I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, we will. We'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah.
And it just fell into place for me as a facilitator.
Okay.
Although I have done other types of groups, but this one is the one I'm most at home with.
That's great. So just for those who don't know, we have these support groups, and you're the facilitator for others, but you're also the facilitator for Kaleidoscope, and you're the main one, I think. You may not be the only one.
Yeah. It's not my group. It just happened. It just so happens that month over month, I do it.
You tend to get it. All right. So let's talk a little bit. Like, we have all these support groups monthly. We have them 3 times a month. So I'm going to post a link in the comments here. And if anyone has any questions that they want to have answered throughout this Facebook Live, you can ask them in the comments, and I'll put them on the screen. But for right now, I put up where you can find out more about the support groups in the comments. It just went up now. But in the meantime, so we have support groups on anxiety, we have depression, we have hoarding, we have a bunch of support groups, and then we have this one called Kaleidoscope, which is kind of a name that people just they don't really get, which is why we're here today to talk about it. So who is Kaleidoscope for?
So Kaleidoscope is for everyone. So it's a group uh, that is for different diagnoses,
Okay.
not different in oneself. In that it's not whether you have schizophrenia,
Yeah.
depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar, borderline. You are welcome to come to Kaleidoscope, and where you'll find an array of colors, hence the
Yeah.
word of the kaleidoscope of different mental illnesses.
Okay. It's interesting that you describe it
So,
that way because I've never heard it described that way. Like the array of colors and the different mental illnesses. That actually makes the name make sense.
yeah, I really pulled that out of a hat there.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a really like whoop.
Yeah,
That's
somehow my smart hat
yeah, that's
came
all
on.
right. That's a good. It's a good time to
Yeah.
have it, because that's one of the complaints that we've had across the board is this name doesn't make any sense. So if anyone watching this at any point in time is like, I have a great name for this support group that's kind of welcoming to all diagnoses, and you don't have to have a formal diagnosis either. That's the important key there. Another really big factor is that, and I know this is for a lot of people, this is a big deal, is that in every other support group that we have, family members and caregivers are welcome in the support group as a way of helping to better understand the situation, to also just talk about how to better deal with things, and like we can all help each other in that situation and in these scenarios. However, for Kaleidoscope, it's only for people suffering or living or just are having issues with certain mental illnesses or mental health. So if you're a caregiver and you're not suffering or living with this, I guess living with it is a better way of saying it. Then maybe you should not come to Kaleidoscope because this isn't the group for caregivers and stuff. Pauline saying the video is working, is not working and it's stuck. Maybe if you could close the window and come back. I can't stop it unless we have other people tell us that it's frozen, but we have a few people watching right now, so if anyone else is having a frozen video, let me know. It may be freezing, but on my side everything looks good. And usually when it freezes,
Other people.
Hi, other people. So usually when it freezes, I can see it on my side, and like things get glitchy and stuff. So you've been part of Kaleidoscope for, you said, a bunch of years now, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of situations, like what can people expect if I'm like, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So Janice is saying she left and came back, and now the video works. So yeah, that's if you're having a hard time with video, close it and come back. Hopefully that'll work. Facebook is especially at this time is kind of glitchy, just because everybody is using the internet right now, and so everyone's bandwidth gets throttled, and that's life sometimes in this modern world. So what can people expect? So let's say I'm having an issue. I'm feeling incredibly anxious. I'm having anxiety issues, and I'm feeling a little bit depressed. I see this group come up. It's coming up next Monday. It's called Kaleidoscope. It's for any diagnosis. What should I expect when I come into this group, aside from your smiling face?
Yeah. Well, like, for one, I think that all support groups are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That you find yourself in a place where people know symptoms. They know how overpowering symptoms can be, and that's any type of symptoms. They know how disruptive it can be at different times in your life, and they know the sense of being fragile. They know what it was, hard times, many times with the medical system.
Yeah.
And so you're simply amongst people who get it. And even though it's hard to put the finger on what they're getting, it's essentially people who have been in your shoes in one way or the other,
Yeah.
in like a thematic way,
Yeah.
in something happening to you that is still stigmatized, that still makes it that can make it difficult to socialize, that can make things lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and they and so in a sense everyone in the group gets it, and you can sense that when you're there. And it's like, kind of like why there's like gay resource centers
Yeah.
where you could just come and be you and not worry about the judgment,
Yeah.
and hit upon people who, when you say, you know, like my psychiatrist sees me for 5 minutes and writes something on the paper, and then, I'm out the door. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, no other explanation is needed, nor do you want any, because you could see in their eyes and their voice that they've been there. I'm
Yeah.
not
No.
saying that that's how it is with all psychiatrists, but
No. I think that's a really good way of phrasing it, and like, it's being able to come into a community and join a group of people who understand your situation. They may not necessarily be experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing on the day-to-day basis, but the general sentiment
yeah,
is there. I mean, there's all kinds of examples of this in all sorts of things, right? Women's groups, where they get together and
hmm
they have the women only, and it's an exclusive space, so they can feel safe and they can commiserate or just talk or just be with other women and not have to worry about any other the outlying factors. Or there's spaces where, like, men will go out for a weekend and do their thing with other men and be around men without having to be concerned about any other things going on. There's something to be said for these exclusive spaces and experiences and lived experiences that are known, that are like just like part of our everyday lives that we may not know other people experience, and how it can make you feel so much better in your everyday life just knowing, okay, I'm not alone in this, even though you may feel alone
yeah,
in this.
yeah, yeah. In a way, like it gives some objectivity to one's personal feelings,
Yeah.
seeing that other people feel the same way or have encountered the same problems, because without the reflection in other people
Yeah.
of the same feelings or same problems or same struggles, uh, you think, well, it's just me,
Yeah.
and it's my fault, or that I am so unique in the world that no one can really understand what
Yeah.
I'm going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So earlier, when we were like in our like green room, I call it the green room, it's really just us before
Yeah.
this starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about like what kind of things we wanted to talk about, and you brought up something that I don't think I've ever brought up before, and that's like health professionals that may be watching this video in the future. And so, like, if there's a health professional who has a client and they're not sure where they should send them, so like what kind of, like, who would a health professional send to this support group? Like, if they would, or as a recommendation, they wouldn't send it. We're not like a referral service. All our services are free, and they're, you come if you can, as you can. But like, who would they be? Like, who would they recommend the Kaleidoscope support group to?
Yeah. I I believe anyone who who can use, I mean, the support
Yeah.
of peers, and not, you know they all know that,
Yeah.
that this is not a magic bullet,
Yeah.
but the comfort and the reflection in other people,
Yeah.
uh, just those people who you're saying, I've been there,
Yeah.
the words that come from people who are older, who have lived with particular types of mental illnesses for longer, to people who are younger,
Yeah.
are very special, you know, and sort of related, and not on a tan and a bit on a tangent, is that I've always been keen on and impressed with, like, the wisdom of participants in support groups. Is that, like, knowledge can be book knowledge and this and that, but wisdom is, you've been there, you've learned the hard way,
Yeah.
you've struggled through it, and that gives you a sort of very nuanced sort of understanding of what others are going through.
Yeah.
And therefore, when it's impressive when people on that level are relating to each other, and understanding each other at a level that is really kind of special. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just cool, you
Yeah. It
know.
really is. Yeah.
Uh, there is this sort of dynamic in support groups of people wanting very specific advice and specific solutions,
Yeah.
and that's sort of across all support groups,
Yeah.
and and in some ways in some ways that happens, but
Yeah.
at a very sort of informal, sort of casual way. No one's talking as a professional, but people are like, hey, when I was going through this, I did that.
Yeah.
Journaled, I went for a walk every day, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people sort of, you know, can take those, or say like, yeah, no, that's not where I'm at, and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
a good example of that too is that like someone might say something that they did that you may not necessarily agree with, but it'll get your mind thinking about something that would work for you. You're like, oh wait, going for a walk every day won't work for me, but
yeah,
if I like set my desk work on front of a window and I can see outside, that like because I can see outside, that might help with my work and not feeling like
yeah,
I'm overwhelmed and stuff.
yeah,
Like sometimes
yeah,
these other situations can trigger you to like help you realize something, that a solution that exists that is actually feasible for you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes just by verbalizing stuff and communicating, like, it just in regular life, when I
Yeah.
actually say what's on my mind, like, you know and I hear myself saying it, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, I can catch, like, more of how much sense it makes. Or maybe, I've been on this
Absolutely.
sort of absolutist track of this has how it has to be.
Yeah.
And it helps me clarify my thinking a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that's true. And I think it's important to say too that people don't have to talk when they come into the
No, they
support
don't.
groups, right? And so there's no obligation to be like, no one's going to pressure you to say something or talk about what you're going through. We just ask that you acknowledge that you're there,
Yeah.
because the support groups, we want to make sure that people are there and they're present, and you don't have to say anything, and maybe you'll come back the next time and you'll feel more comfortable saying. And on that note too, you don't have to disclose what you're suffering with or what you're going through. You don't have to be like, I'm suffering with depression or I'm living with anxiety right now. That's not how the support groups work. Everyone is it's a confidential space where everyone is there to share what they're comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's great. I've sat in on a lot of these support groups, as tech support and just like sitting in on them, and I'm actually going through the facilitator training also in a few weeks, so I can facilitate them if ever need be. But the one thing I've noticed too is that there's oftentimes where it's a casual, fun conversation. It's not
Oh, yeah.
always it's not always this like dreary like sad conversations about how things are. I mean, there are definitely times where
Yeah.
things get serious, But like
Yeah.
oftentimes it's people just talking about your life and like what's going on, and you're like laughing and making jokes, and like it's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
having a good pleasant conversation with people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I even mentioned that a bit, that good news, bad news, mediocre
Yeah,
news, like all is welcome.
yeah,
Like I never want people to get the impression that it always has to be about, some particular difficulty or challenge or crisis, that, you know because that's a unneeded sense and false pressure,
yeah,
that you come as you are,
yeah,
happy, tired, symptomatic,
yeah,
non-symptomatic.
yeah.
You come, and pretty assuredly, no matter whatever state you come in, someone else in the group or I have been exactly in
Yeah,
that
in their
state.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a question here from Pauline. Is there an age group? No. Over 18. We don't offer support groups for anyone under 18. But Kaleidoscope is open to all ages. Yeah. So that's the beauty of it, and that's what's interesting too, is that you'll have seniors who are in the group, and we also have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, teenagers in CJEP, who are having conversations, and it's a great way to like it's funny because Marty and I were actually talking about age groups earlier as well, and
Yeah.
how I'm 38. Marty doesn't have to disclose his age, but he's ancient.
Yeah.
So he
I'm
might.
48.
You're 48. See, he's ancient. He's
But
like, I'm never gonna be 48.
long in the tooth.
But like, there's a lot of things that Marty may have gone through in his late 30s that can relate to what I'm going through in my life right now, and that's what the beauty of these support groups is that also there's things that I'm going through right now that Marty can learn from. Like,
Probably. I'm also sure.
yeah, like that's the beauty of it. We all learn from each other, and we can all support each other as long as we're coming in with an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just makes me want to say, like, all this talk, what we've been talking about is like, how would you feel if you went into your workplace and everyone was open and had a mental illness area, was open and cool with it? I
yeah,
mean, just it would just be like you could breathe,
yeah,
and it would be a completely different dynamic. And ironically, the fact of everyone having a mental illness at your workplace would quickly make that fact very secondary to
yeah.
your work and your conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But it
Yeah.
allows everyone to be a little bit more at ease with like
Yeah.
explaining what they're going through, or even just saying, "I'm not talking today. I can't talk today, but I'm here
Yeah.
to listen."
Yeah.
And sometimes that's
Yeah.
what you need to do.
Yeah. And like talking about the thematic stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's say a particular example is, interviewing for work
Yeah.
with a mental
Oh,
illness,
okay.
or coming out to a colleague with mental illness.
Yeah.
It 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 matters, the different diagnoses. Of course, it does, in that it's different challenges with different symptoms.
Yeah.
But at a sort of higher level, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
That I'm a bit different, and I may have good days and may have bad days, and how do you broach that? How is, and then other people in the group have done it differently. People in the group have, said, well, no, for me, I'm not ready for that, and it's not necessary. I don't, and you sort of you learn, and then you see someone else say, well, yeah, everyone's totally cool at my work. My manager
Yeah.
has a mental illness, and her daughter does.
Yeah.
And you're getting a feel for the wider aspects of mental illness in our community, that may have been thought of as very sort of precarious or dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything else? Like, it's if we have no more questions, Marty, is there any other like things that you want to make sure we cover about the support group, or any last like final words? If anyone's got any questions too, you can submit them through, and we'll try to answer them for you right away. But I don't want to like drag this out. But if we've got any like last words or anything.
Not really. I think we, did a pretty good job explaining it. That that
the who, what, where, when, why.
That although it's harder to dig into the specifics of one diagnosis and everyone having that same diagnosis in a group, and like the other groups.
Yeah.
That there's this sort of the issues are the more thematic issues, and the support and the caring and the feeling at ease are there.
I mean, that's the best part about it, to be honest, is that it's a more, not necessarily more, but it's the more universal group in terms of like the experiences are more universal instead of more like kind of streamlined.
And sometimes people, because of the AMI-Quebec schedule, because if they add in a Kaleidoscope to the other groups they're going to, or group they're going to, then they're with AMI-Quebec and doing more support groups, and that's totally cool. Yeah, I mean, we're social animals.
Yeah, especially now where like things are starting to get back into COVID, out of COVID, and starting to socialize more. Legault just announced that people can have people in their homes if they're fully vaccinated, up to 10 people in your home. So like a lot of things are going to start coming out that people might not have realized are going to happen. And so you might need that extra support where you're going to come into a support group to talk about how that's affecting you, or like what to expect, or if you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed or just like sad because you've lost contact with all your friends over the past year and a half. Like, these are all very real things that could be happening, and that could trigger you to need some support from anybody,
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so I posted a link to all of our workshops in our calendar there in the comments. One thing I want to just bring forward is that I'm going to pull it up my own personal calendar here because I forgot the date of it. July 15th, I'm going to be talking specifically about what I just said, which is post-pandemic realities and like what to expect and how to like plan and just like what you're not expecting, and we're just going to talk about it. So if you've got any questions, or if you want to like just chat with us about it live, we're going to be here. We're going to be talking about it. Marty's not going to be here. I'm going to be here with one or two other people that are yet to be determined. But there'll be some people, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm really excited about it because it's something that's been in the back of my mind, and like, and I know that a lot of people, I'm sure it's in the forefront of a lot of people's mind, is like, oh my God, I have to go to a dinner party. What is that going to look like? Or I have to go out on a date. I haven't dated in the past year because I've been too scared to get sick, and like now I'm going to meet someone in person, and I've been talking to them for a month or 2 months or a day online. Now what? Like, oh my God. Like, there's like...
You're making me nervous.
Yeah, I'm making myself nervous. So I'm just...
You mean I actually have to start seeing people?
Yeah, I know, exactly, right? Like, you're basically going to get my, like, train of thought all about post-pandemic stuff live and in your face for during that.
Me and the guy from DoorDash are, like, really friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean... Gonna be hard to replace.
Yeah, exactly. He's giving you the comfort and warmth that no one else has been able to provide for the past year.
Surprisingly social.
Marty, thank you very much for joining me tonight as we talked about Kaleidoscope. And thank you everyone who is tuning in. And if you're watching this in the future, if you have any questions, shoot us an email. Check out our calendar. Come to the support groups. it's all there. We're not stopping. We're not going to be going back in person very likely this calendar year. We will be continuing to be online, so it is very easy to just like decide at the last minute that this is what you need tonight and pop into the support groups. Yeah, so thank you everybody for watching, and have a good night. Thank you, Marty.
Okay, have a good night.